This is the newsroom for Tuesday, March 30th, 2021. We're broadcasting to you on E1, Scar TV, NTN, and Tarzi TV in Bartica. In the headlines, an 11-year-old boy drowns during a fishing trip on the east coast of Demerara. President Irfan Ali says Guyana is deeply concerned about the divide between rich and poor countries. Guyana's over 40 population to begin COVID vaccination from Wednesday. And in sport, Cricket Ombudsman Kamal Ramkaran is confident that the Guyana Cricket Board election process can withstand any litigation. With the news, I'm Fariza Hanif. We're glad you can join us. The body of 11-year-old Lachman Ram Anan of Fowles on the east coast of Demerara was recovered at the Enmore foreshore minutes after he drowned on Monday afternoon. The newsroom understands that Ram Anan and two friends left to go fishing at the shore at about 15 hours on Monday. According to the regional commander, Senior Superintendent Kali Parishram, the lad went out into the water and the tide took him away. An alarm was subsequently raised by the two friends after he did not resurface, and minutes later, residents recovered his motionless body. He was rushed to the Dr. C.C. Nicholson Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. President Irfan Ali on Sunday said that Guyana is deeply concerned over the widening development chasm between rich and poor countries as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. He also called for more systems to be put in place to aid countries struggling to rebound from the deadly disease. Kurt Campbell reports.
Speaking during the virtual meeting of heads of state and government on the international debt architecture and liquidity on Sunday, Guyana's head of state, Dr. Irfan Ali, registered the country's disappointment and that of other countries, with the clear divide being demonstrated between rich and poor countries in the response to the global COVID-19 pandemic. During the address, President Ali joined Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, and the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and other world leaders. He noted that while the pandemic has aggravated the levels of poverty and the economic distress, the structure of the existing international debt compounds poor countries' bleak recovery prospects.
Guyana would therefore like to take this opportunity to urge developed countries and international financial institutions to immediately revisit and reform the existing international debt framework so as to make it more responsive to developing countries' needs.
The president, however, applauded the recent initiative of the International Monetary Fund to provide special drawing rights of US $650 billion. This, he said, would definitely enhance global liquidity and assist countries to navigate the risk and adverse effects of the pandemic. While he complimented the G20 countries for initiating the Debt Service Suspension Initiative, which allows for the postponement of debt repayments for more than 70 low-income countries, President Ali also used the forum to strongly urge them to seriously consider granting a further extension of the standstill period to support their recovery efforts.
Given the reality that many poor countries are saddled with debt distress, we advocate for broad-based debt relief to developing countries through international frameworks similar to the Paris Club arrangements, such as the Heavily Indebted Poor Countries, the HIPIC Initiative, and the Multilateral Debt Relief Initiative.
He also made an appeal for developed countries and international lending institutions to increase funding to support small developing states so that they can better respond to natural and biological disasters, which exact massive tolls on their economies and infrastructure. The high-level virtual meeting, convened as part of the Financing for the Development in the Era of COVID-19 and Beyond initiative, aimed to underscore the urgent need for more concrete action to provide liquidity and address debt vulnerability. It follows the meetings and roundtables held in 2020 under the auspices of the FFDI to mobilize action to assist the economic recovery from the pandemic. Kurt Campbell for the Newsroom.
The Guyana Association of Professional Psychologists, GuyPsych, was officially launched on Tuesday and will focus on providing the highest quality of professional services in this field. During the launch, Director of the Mental Health Unit, Dr. Yutal Thomas, noted that the COVID-19 pandemic has increased the need for psychologists, especially in Guyana, where the pool is limited. The association, led by Dr. Sharon Dial, said one of the main focuses will be to create a local psychological practitioner register.
Today marks a new beginning for us as we plan to build a healthier world, break down barriers, and build solid bridges for society to embrace psychology, intervention techniques, and sciences to positively enrich the mind and behaviors of all. The Guyana Association of Professional Psychologists, GuyPsych, was officially registered with the Guyana Friendly Societies on August 4, 2020, as a non-governmental organization. Our association mission, vision, and objectives aligned with the Friendly Society and our parenting body, the Caribbean Alliance of National Psychological Association, CAMPA. Together, we collaborate to provide the highest quality of professional services and practice standards for the local context. Collaboration between different actors is paramount and the only route to successfully address the integrated psychological challenges. Our immediate association plans are finding ways and means of sustainability, increasing our membership drive, improving professional linkages, raising public awareness, and creating a local psychological practitioner register.
With the realization that mental health is central and critical to quality of life and accelerated by the pandemic, mental health is gaining the importance it deserves. It is my hope that the Guyana Association of Professional Psychologists will be true to its mission statement in advancing and sharing psychological knowledge and skills, promoting health and well-being, and establishing a professional association that spearheads psychological development in Guyana.
When the newsroom returns, a Linden man douses his girlfriend with hot water after she refused to give him the password to her cell phone, and 2 more private labs approved to do PCR COVID testing. Stay tuned. Back, you're watching the newsroom. A Linden Region 10 man is now in police custody after he brutally beat his girlfriend and her sister on Monday night. Police in a statement said the man and his girlfriend were involved in an argument after she reportedly refused to give him the password to her cell phone. Police said the man got upset and armed himself with a mug of boiling water and threw it on his girlfriend's face. The woman received second-degree burns and was also beaten to the head with a piece of wood. According to the police statement, when the woman's sister tried to intervene, the man picked up a 3-inch block and attacked her about the head and body. The sister sustained a broken right leg. Police said the man escaped from the scene and left the 2 sisters lying in the yard covered in blood. They are both admitted to the Linden Hospital complex in a stable condition. Meanwhile, at about 3:10 on Tuesday, the suspect turned himself in at the Mackenzie police station. 2 private labs, Sheriff Medical and Coastal Diagnostics, have been granted provisional licenses to conduct COVID-19 PCR testing, Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony revealed on Tuesday during his daily COVID-19 update. Dr. Anthony explained that while the 2 labs have everything in place for testing and are capable of conducting the tests, they still have to go through a 3-month period of monitoring, and once the standards are maintained, a full license will be granted.
So right now for PCR testing, we have 4 authorized laboratories. The first one being the National Public Health Reference Lab, which is run by the Ministry of Health. The second one will be Eureka Medical Laboratories, and they have been doing PCR testing. The third has been Coastal Diagnostics, which has been granted a provisional license, and the 4th has been Sheriff Medical Laboratories, which have been granted a provisional license. So we have 2 additional, which is Coastal Diagnostics and Sheriff Medical Laboratories. Both of them have been given provisional license because we tend to assess on a regular basis until we are comfortable, and then we make sure they'll be granted a full license once they comply with all the things that we require.
Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deodat Indar, on Saturday engaged residents in the villages of Monrepo, Martyrsville, and Vigilance on the east coast of Demerara to address several issues concerning the state of the roads, The visit comes after the minister received several complaints from the residents relating to infrastructural development. Sheena Henry tells us more.
While acknowledging that the roads in the villages of Monrepo, Martyrsville, and Vigilance on the east coast of Demerara are in a horrid state, Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deodat Indar, assured that the ministry is committed to repairing the roads with additional sectional repairs to the main access road that leads into the community.
I'm going to the front to see the bridge. We also have a program for bridges, but the amounts in the budget is a particular figure. It's 215 million, but we already had some bridges that needed a dire repair throughout the country. So we really have to go look at the bridge to see what we can do there.
Additionally, the minister said that he would reach out to Minister of Home Affairs, Robson Ben, in an effort to address ongoing crime activities in the communities, which he noted is becoming overbearing as the lack of street lights, accompanied with dilapidated vehicles on the side of the roads, create a space for thieves to hide and attack innocent residents.
I'm asking residents to please comply with the local NDC to make sure that you move out these derelict vehicles. It is not fair for other residents to suffer because of you putting your derelict vehicle on the shoulder of the road. It is doing two things. It is harboring water on the road and destroying the road, and it is creating a festering environment for criminals to hide and go rob people and harass them.
Indar highlighted that the communities are badly in need of infrastructural works, noting that the ministry's team will be sent to cost the roads and return to the drawing board to plan a response to the development of the roads. For the newsroom, I am Sheena Henry.
Still ahead in the newsroom, Guyana's over 40 population to begin COVID vaccination from Wednesday, and a laborer is charged with the attempted murder of his wife. Guyana's over 40 population is now invited to take the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine from Wednesday, March 31st, 2021, boosted by the 24,000 doses received through the COVAX facility on Monday. Daniel Swain has more details.
Fulfilling President Ali's promise on the expansion of the COVID-19 vaccination program, persons over 40 years old will begin to receive the vaccine on Wednesday, March 31st. To make the process smoother, the Ministry of Health has announced that persons can pre-fill their form electronically via a link on their Facebook page or website and bring it with them to the vaccination site. The country's immunization program has now been bolstered by 24,000 doses of the AstraZeneca, which arrived at the Chedi Jagan International Airport on Monday through the COVAX facility. Advisor to the Ministry of Health, Dr. Leslie Ramsamy, spoke at the simple ceremony on Monday.
Guyana is grateful to have been included in one of the countries that constitute the COVAX beneficiary list of countries. We are even more grateful that we are one of the 92 AMC countries that will benefit from an amount of vaccine that hopefully will cover 20% of our population. Today we received 24,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccine, and this will go a far way to permit Guyana to continue our vaccination rollout.
PAHO WHO representative to Guyana, Dr. Louis Codina, whilst acknowledging the current global vaccine shortages, highlighted the effort of the COVAX facility to provide access to developing nations like Guyana. According to the first round of COVAX allocations, Guyana is expected to continue receiving doses through May until it reaches 100,800, the amount specified by COVAX.
We know that very clearly that the market is in shortage. We are reading all the newspapers every day. But this effort to try to be much more equitable and facilitate the access of the poorest countries also, there is half of the countries in the world that are under COVAX facility support. So for us, it's make us very proud to be participating in this process as other UN agencies. We are supporting also the national plan of vaccination because Guyana has a lot of experience in terms of vaccination programs. So they have the capacity to vaccinate a large number of children, for example, per day, that can be replicated with adults now with COVAX facility support through the vaccines of AstraZeneca in this case.
Guyana is the first AMC country in the Caribbean to receive the vaccines through COVAX. According to UN Resident Coordinator for Guyana, Mikiko Tanaka, COVAX is a hard-won global partnership to ensure no one is left behind in the path to recovery, and thanked all other partners that were involved in making the donation a reality.
In addition to the European Union and Team Europe, I understand, we have the United States of America, have the United Kingdom, Canada, and Japan. So thank you very much to the donors and the citizens of those countries that have helped to make sure that this vaccination does not leave anybody behind. And we wish that this is a first step towards recovery of Guyana and the other countries around the world, and going back to the path towards the Sustainable Development Goals.
Meanwhile, UNICEF representative to Guyana, Irfan Akhtar, said that the arrival of these vaccines represented hope for a brighter future, especially for children who have suffered greatly during the pandemic.
From UNICEF side, we can say that there is a profound impact of COVAX on children indirectly, because it has impacted to access to learning, mental health, and also protection issues. So we feel that by vaccinating all intended populations or target population, it will enable to open up the services, and also children will have enabling environment to access those services, because many restrictions will be lifted after the vaccinations, and we will open up the services.
Vaccination, along with continued sanitation practices, is key to beating the virus and developing herd immunity, so that Guyana, along with the world, can begin to rebuild from the dire effects of the pandemic. I am Danielle Swain, reporting for the Newsroom.
A 30-year-old man was granted $500,000 bail on Tuesday for the attempted murder of his reputed wife, whom he severely chopped during an argument last week. Richard Mohammed of Friendship, Lower Pomeroon River Region 2, and of Huntley, Maikoni on the east coast of Demerara, was arrested on March 25th. He appeared at the Anna Regina Magistrates Court before Magistrate Esther Sam and was not required to enter a plea. The case was adjourned to April 19, 2021 and was transferred to the Charity Magistrates Court. The chopping incident occurred in the wee hours of March 25th. The 23-year-old victim remains in a critical condition at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation. Police said she lost several fingers and was also chopped to the head and other parts of the body. The young woman, who has 5 children from a previous relationship, is said to be 6 weeks pregnant. The Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, in Trinidad and Tobago has suspended testing for new variants of COVID-19 in the region, according to Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony. Dr. Anthony, in his daily COVID-19 update on Tuesday, did not reveal when this suspension took effect or why the testing was suspended. But he noted that since the first batch of 10 samples was sent from Guyana for testing in January, no other samples were sent. Dr. Anthony further revealed that Guyana continues to pursue other arrangements with the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, to send more samples for testing of the new variants to the Center for Disease Control in the United States.
CARPHA was offering genetic sequencing, and we sent the first 10 samples to them. When we received the results from those 10 samples, they didn't find anything of significance. After that, for a little while, they had suspended the genetic sequencing at CARPHA, or whatever relationship CARPHA had with the laboratories that were doing the sequencing. So we weren't able to send back anything more to CARPHA. They have since notified us that they'll be able to do some additional sequencing, and once we put all the arrangements in place, we'll be able to send samples to them. We have been also pursuing another arrangement, and that is to send samples to the United States, but we are still trying to finalize those details of how to get the samples up to them. So as of now,
When the newsroom returns, the financial, weather and bridge reports and sport news with Avinash Ramzan. That's it for me, Fariza Hanif. Take care.
Welcome back to Newsroom. Avinash Ramzan here with tonight's sport. We're starting off with some football news. The Golden Jaguars, Guyana's senior national team, trounced the Bahamas 4-0 in their second Group F match of the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers on Tuesday. Playing in the Dominican Republic, the Jaguars got an early goal to take a 1-0 lead in the first half before unleashing 3 more in the final 45 minutes. Terence Van Kooten scored his first goal for Guyana in the 8th minute before Cadel Daniel doubled the advantage in the 54th. 17-year-old Guyanese Omari Glasgow scored his maiden international goal in the 75th minute, and Emery Welshman closed out the contest in the 81st. The victory pushed Guyana to third on the table on 3 points. Trinidad and Tobago, who defeated Guyana 3-0, sit second on 4, while St. Kitts and Nevis lead the table with the maximum 6 points from 2 matches. Puerto Rico 1 point and Bahamas 0 complete the table. Only one team would advance from this group to the next round. Cricket news now. Sri Lanka responded strongly to West Indies' first innings 354, closing day 2 of the second and final test in Antigua on 136 for 3. Opener Lahira Tiramani led the way with 55 before Dinesh Chandimal with 34 not out and Dhananjaya De Silva with an unbeaten 23 put on an unbroken partnership of 59. Alzari Joseph, Kemar Roach and Kyle Mears are the wicket takers so far for West Indies, who resumed on 287 for 7 and added 67 runs more. Craig Brathwaite, who resumed on 99, was last man out for 126, while his overnight partner Rakeem Cornwall made 73. Suranga Lakmal took 4 for 94 and Dushmanta Chimera 3 for 69. The first test ended in a draw. Now, the Guyanese businessman Bisundayal Singh was on Monday elected president of the Guyana Cricket Board following the hosting of the long-awaited election in Georgetown. Singh, the current president of the Demerara and East Coast Cricket Boards, was elected unopposed. He leads a team that includes Hilbert Foster, Vice President, Rabindranath Sewak, Vice President, Ronald Williams, Secretary, Devtert Ananjit, the Assistant Secretary, Pritipal Jaigubin, the Treasurer, Dr. Cecil Bihari, Assistant Treasurer, Claude Raphael, Public Relations Officer, Mohammed Baksh, the Marketing Manager, Sean Messiah, Chairman of the Competitions Committee, Ramnaresh Sarwan, Chairman of the Senior Selectors, and Andre Percival, Chairman of the Junior Selection Panel. Now, moments after being elected to the top post, Singh spoke to Newsroom's Akeem Green, explaining his plan of action to take Guyana's cricket forward.
Well, it wasn't easy. It was a battle. And finally, legality and transparency and to some extent decency prevail. And it was only a matter of time, because these are tenets in life that always exist once you have people with honesty and decency. So we expected it. It would have happened sometime. The court, it would only rule the right way. And so the process evolved, and this is it. This is the conclusion. And I'm happy to serve the people of Guyana. It is a privilege, if not an honor. And I'm not being elected to govern anyone. This is a collective, not only with my executives, but as a whole, the people of Guyana as a whole. And as I said before, I crave the indulgence of corporate Guyana, His Excellency, the President, Dr. Irfan Ali, his ministers, the trade unions and so on, especially the Guyana Teachers Union and the Ministry of Education as it relates to school cricket. School cricket is something that we got to look at immediately, especially as it relates to inter-house cricket and into school, then into zone as in the past. And then we see how that transcends into the club cricket. Obviously, we will be meeting with all the boards and the association and the clubs. These are things that are immediately will be done. And one of the things of importance is that we're going to immediately engage the Essecobo Cricket Board. And as I mentioned, the Essecobo Cricket Board, I learned this morning that Mr. Faisal Bakas, the president, has lost his wife. And I would like to extend my sincere condolences to him and his family. And our prayers and thoughts are with him in these troubled times. And I hope that he gets through with this. But as soon as that is over and he can work, we will sit with him. We will examine all what we can do to bring Essecobo to the table. Going forward, I don't see anyone as an enemy. What happened in the past is just the past. It will be written and registered in the history books for the purpose of only history and not for our use. We don't have use for the past. We are going to now push forward and propel Guyana's cricket. I would like to see we come back in the days where Guyana dominate West Indies cricket. When at one time we had 6 players in the West Indies team. We're also going to aggressively represent our country as it comes to proper representation overseas. I wish to tell you that our board will not be confrontational. We don't wish to engage in controversies, but that of conversation. And so there will be programs, policies, and progress. Having said all of that, I am going to actively engage the media for their assistance, because without the media, nothing can happen. And this is the medium between the people of Guyana and the board itself. So I am looking forward to work closely with the media, and I hope the media do the same with us. If there is something that we have an issue with, we don't need for it to be ventilated if it's not clarified properly. We have had issues like that in the past, and we spend a lot of time on issues that are unrelated to the field, and waste time on that than to divert our energies towards fixing the on-field thing in the boardroom. So our boardroom would be one structured in such a way where we call it a factory. You have a mindset of a conglomerate where you operate into 2 different sectors, where administration is one section and cricket development is another section, merged with corporate governance. And so we have appointed a special advisor when it comes to cricket development, and a special advisor into corporate governance, financing, and marketing, which is the CEO and Deputy CEO of NBS, is Anil Biharia, when it comes to that, and with the cricket development sector, and as to the layout and the plan as to how we approach the standard of cricket to take it to another level. Our special advisor there is Mr. Roger Harper, and you know he is the team leader for the selection panel on the West Indies Cricket Board. Cricket West Indies.
Still on cricket matters, Cricket Ombudsman Kamal Ramkaran said while he anticipates there would be more litigation, he is confident those would be successfully defended. Attorney Ramkaran was the presiding officer for the Guyana Cricket Board elections on Monday, and in an exclusive interview with Newsroom, he pointed to a smooth and relatively incident-free process.
The delegates from Demerara and Berbice were present, and every position except one was unopposed. One in one position, I think it was second vice president. There were 2 candidates, and those candidates were elected by secret ballot. One person got 13 votes, and the other one got 5. So there was nobody from Escobar, nor did Escobar send me their list of delegates. A lot of work was done in terms of obtaining registers, going through them, speaking to getting the concerns of Escobar, and putting those concerns of Escobar to the Demerara. It's mostly in relation to Demerara.
Right.
Putting the concerns to Demerara, getting a response from Demerara, and letting Escobar have that response for any comments they may wish to make. They didn't make any comment, but at the forefront of my mind was also the fact that the verification of registers is an ongoing process.
Right.
And both Demerara and Berbice had elections, and there is a limit to what I can do. If the clubs that I verified are not fake clubs, they're real clubs, because I spoke to a number of them. So that was what I wanted to do. The clubs were real clubs, and they were not made-up clubs. And further verification will be done by the ombudsman who is elected, and it's an ongoing process, so that the next elections of the county boards, there will be more verification of those clubs. But I was conscious of the fact that there was a limit to what I could do, because the elections were carried out by court order, with all of these contenders before the court and putting forward their contentions to the court before those orders were made by the court. But I did do as much as I could to verify. Having regard to the number of cases that have been filed in the past about concerning these elections and cricket administration in Guyana, I am certain that there is going to be more litigation perhaps challenging these elections, or the continued challenge to the Demerara elections of the Demerara Cricket Board. So So I'm certain that there's going to be more litigation, but I feel confident that these elections were carried out in a way that any litigation would be successfully defended to challenge the results of these elections.
Now, after a decorated senior career that lasted almost 20 years, the former Guyana and West Indies captain Ramnarish Sarwan is elated to serve the sport in a different capacity. The 40-year-old right-hander, who played 87 test matches and 181 ODIs, scoring over 11,000 runs, was on Monday elected unopposed to the post of chairman of the senior selection panel of the Guyana Cricket Board. Sarwan, in a brief interview with Newsroom Sport, said he's honored to be given the opportunity to serve the sport that has brought him worldwide acclaim. He said, and I quote, "I'm looking forward to this new role. I must say a big thank you to those who have placed the confidence in me. Congrats to the other members who were elected today. To them I say, let's work to build Guyana's cricket." End quote. Sarwan replaces another former national player, Rayon Griffith, who previously served as the chairman of selectors. And finally, Rishabh Pant has been appointed Delhi Capitals captain for the 2021 IPL. The development comes in the wake of Capitals regular captain Shreyas Iyer being ruled out of the season after he dislocated his left shoulder during the ODI series against England. This is the first captaincy assignment for Pant in the IPL, who was brought by the Capitals in 2016 and then became the first player to be retained ahead of the 2018 mega auction. At 23, Pant will become the 5th youngest captain in the IPL after Virat Kohli, Steve Smith, Suresh Raina and Shreyas Iyer. While Kohli and Smith assumed leadership at 22, Raina and Iyer were 23, but they were older in terms of days than Pant. And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, Newsroom.gy, our Facebook page and Instagram. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.